With our repeated involvement in recent temporal missions at the hands of Agent Daniels, it's almost a relief to hear from Starfleet Command once again with a more mundane mission. With all the time hopping we've been doing, realistically only a few weeks, maybe a month have passed since the end of the Iconian War, when Admiral Jorrell Quinn contacts us with a new mystery to investigate.
With the war over, it's time for us to rebuild, to take stock of our situation, and to return to our roots as explorers. We've recently noticed that a star in an unexplored system near Ferenginar has become unstable. There's nothing to indicate any change to its stellar life cycle, so this is a perfect opportunity for us to chart the system, investigate the star, and improve our understanding of what's happening. I want you to head up this investigation. Find out why this star is suddenly dying, and make sure it isn't going to be a threat to any nearby worlds or systems.
So first off, we need to pick up our stellar scientist from DS9. Fair enough. We pull into the Bajor sector and approach Deep Space Nine, always busy with the comings and goings of all sorts of traffic, to recruit our specialist, a Cardassian named Tenora Zuval. Naturally, ever since the Romulan supernova from Hobus, Starfleet and the galactic community at large has kind of been a bit jumpy around stars that begin to behave unexpectedly. So the fact that one near Ferenginar seems to be denying its natural life cycle and beginning to die warrants immediate attention. I'm not saying it's Iconians, but we can't just ignore it, uninhabited system or not.
Thank you for the pickup. I'm Tenora Zuval. Let's get started. My preliminary observations show some kind of unknown stellar problem. This unexplored system near Ferenginar is undergoing solar death. Basically, it's as if the star is going out suddenly, but there's no good reason why. We need to get close enough to take some readings and see what we can figure out.
The system we are heading to is the Hrith system, as the Zenkethi call it, which is easier to say than the string of numbers that Starfleet has designated the unexplored region. It's in the Maxia sector block, which is adjacent to Ferenginar and Zenkethi space, beyond the recently contacted Defera system. While on the fringes of Federation territory, it remains mostly unexplored, as probes of the system revealed no terrestrial worlds, its most interesting feature being a micro-nebula or dust cloud in the system. For this reason, Starfleet has often prioritised other areas of interest above this one while mapping out the stars. We enter the system to see that the star is seemingly ejecting much matter and has dimmed considerably. Well, I'm looking forward to this scientific mission, one with absolutely no twists or turns. A quiet day at the office. What? The pale azure of the collapsing star streaks its brushstrokes throughout the system, bathing the armature in the ailing blue tones, and for all the visuals it does appear to be that this sun is dying. We're about 0.5 AU from the star. Temet asks that we get closer to scan the sun, as there's still no obvious cause.
Getting swamped with solar radiation. Try reducing the gain on your sensors. Initial results don't make any sense. The star's core reactions are failing, but it still has so much mass that it should be conducting fusion. It's as if it suddenly decided that it was no longer going to do hydrogen fusion, just heavier fusion processes.
Would it help if we collected some of the ejected stellar particles so you can perform a more detailed analysis?
This kind of matter is ejected during corona events. We should be able to collect some with your ship's ramscopes if we head to one of the ejection zones.
We turn the ship from the scanning range to fly into one of these streams of matter to open the ramscoops and pull in some of the particles. Ramscoops are generally used to collect particles that can be refined into various forms of energy for things like impulse drive, but at the end of the day they're just intake valves, so they'll do nicely.
Results are coming in now. This still isn't making any sense. It's as if the star's life cycle was suddenly accelerated somehow, but it never went through an expansion cycle. There's no good explanation for this yet. Maybe something else in the system caused it. If this is system-wide, we should find evidence of similar problems, with nuclear and chemical reactions in the system's gaseous bodies. There's a large amount of gaseous stellar matter further from the star. We should have no trouble checking that hypothesis.
Okay, so we check the rest of the gaseous formations in here to see if they're undergoing altered events too. Set course for that big purple cloud.
This is very strange. Usually nebulae are massive clouds between star systems. Finding a micronebula in a system like this is quite rare. This may be the result of an event such as a cosmic string, shearing through a gas giant and turning it back into particulate matter. I'll need some more readings to know for certain. All the particulate matter will make your ship's sensors unreliable beyond a few kilometers, and shields will be offline. The best we'll be able to do is to check small areas until we get close to something unusual. We should head to where the deionized particle density is highest.
With long-range sensors down, we're stuck with short-range, and a heavily obscured short-range at that. We also have no shields and no full impulse speeds, so we have to adopt a search pattern based on our scan's approximate location of unusual clusters of particles. These only show up when we get within 4 kilometers range of them, and there's 3 to be located. The first reading reveals deionized particles, traces of icy fragments and a subspace ripple that could be an impulse trail. If there's another ship here, we should keep an eye out for that too. We might not be the only people interested in what's going on here. Unfortunately, our scans prove to be correct, and there are indeed other vessels. However, they are Tholian. And naturally, they react with typical zealous aggression at our interference in their operations. With no shields, the best we can do is polarize the hull plating, but this does mean that these smaller web spinners also lack defenses, and they go down very quickly.
Coming in now. Nothing unusual coming in from the nebula, but those Tholian ships were quite far from home. Unfortunately, they can't give us answers. Looks like there's some heavy ionization on the far side of the nebula, though, as if it's receiving some kind of reflected radiation from one of the gas giants.
Yeah, Tholians don't often leave much room for negotiation, nor do the Nakul, or the Borg, or the Kazon, or the Vardwa, or come to think of it, an increasing number of species aren't happy to see the Federation. Set a course for the Jovian planet, we'll investigate that next. This gas giant has clouds that resemble oil on water undulating across its surface, and 2 moons cast in obsidian shadows around its planetary rings. Amid the rocks, some asteroids fly by at dangerous speeds, and we'd rather not be in their path. So, Some of these larger metallic asteroids, however, are radioactive, and maybe we can get some idea of what's going on from these. The first yields only silicates, iron and some magnesium. Not wanting to dodge asteroids in this vessel, we set a course over the rings to the next, which reveals zinc, copper, cobalt, tungsten and mercury. Nothing that special here either, so on to the next. This yields a surprise, however. Nickel, titanium, uranium, that would explain the radiation, but signs of rudimentary excavation. Drill lines and unnatural crevices mark it as a mined asteroid, but by who? I'd say the Tholians, but they'd use more advanced tech, surely. Maybe the moons warrant further study themselves. If there is a mining colony in this system, maybe they've been observing the star. We are near Ferengi space after all. We pull into a distant orbit and give the moon an active scan, as the sun's paling rays illuminate it with daybreak on this world, and we detect structures. Many structures, in fact. Cities, towns, and billions of life signs, and local comm traffic. This moon is inhabited. How comes we never detected it before? Timet explains that subspace is rife with comm signals from many species, many of which we haven't even met yet, and the ones from here are so weak that they were just catalogued as background noise until we were right on top of them. But if they have subspace comms, what about interstellar travel? What about warp drive? Timet clarifies there are a few orbital platforms, 8 billion life signs, and very weak warp trails. Oh my god, we have a first contact situation. I think. Quick, call dibs. The universal translator's already eavesdropping and compiling their language, so I guess here we go. I doubt we have time to send for an official diplomatic crew. Yep, definitely not. They're hailing us. Oh, I should have brushed my hair properly this morning.
Greetings, unknown vessel. This is Administrator Kumarke. Please provide identification.
Purple. I mean, this is Vice Admiral Mark Hale of the USS Armiger representing the United Federation of Planets. We are pleased to meet you.
Welcome to Lucari. Visitors here are rare, but we're always gratified by the chance to meet and exchange information with travelers. I regret that you have arrived at a difficult time. You may have noticed that our home star has become unstable. I'm leading a project to try to reignite the star. Unfortunately, we've already suffered severe disruptions, and we have a lot of problems to tackle right now.
Ah, so you have met others. That's good. I was wondering why you weren't that shocked at seeing an alien species. Who are these other visitors? And I wonder if they have something to do with the star.
Yes, we've previously had contact with the Zenkethi and the Ferengi. We've heard a bit about the Deferi and the Breen, but they haven't ever been to our system. Our home world provides for all of our raw material needs, along with a few mining outposts around the asteroids and the gas giant. We've never had a compelling need to engage in space exploration. And now that our sun is going out, we're scrambling everything we've got to see if we can find a solution or a way to evacuate at least a few of our people.
Well, we are here to help, but let's get this official bit out of the way first, shall we? On behalf of the United Federation of Planets, I extend greetings and hope for peace and mutual prosperity between our people. Okay, good. Now, how are we going to save your planet?
I am honored to have the chance to make first contact with your people. My people have had little contact with other species, but that could change if we discover that we have mutual goals and interests. Of course, if our star goes out, this will also be last contact.
Sorry, that's not funny. Gallows humour, I guess. Oh boy. We're part of a larger fleet with advanced tech if you want us to help.
We have a solar probe ready that contains the booster module that needs to be fired into the star. It's capable of warp 2. There's a problem though. The probe's remote navigation systems don't work. All of the interference from the solar flaring and guttering is blocking the signal. Could your ship get a trajectory plot so that we could set a pre-programmed course?
Certainly. Send us your launch plan and we'll update as needed. Kumarki sends us the current trajectory for the Warp 2 Stellar Igniter, and as we can see it is a little off, a bit from where it needs to end up, so we amend the course so that it can arrive at the Lucari Sun, and we send the updates back to the administrator.
We're getting your telemetry now. I'll have my engineers prepare the probe. Let's see if this works. Nothing to worry about, just the future of my planet.
Well, we'll stay in system to assist.
The probe's made it out of orbit. Engaging secondary boosters to head out of planetary range. It's gone to warp. The probe is arriving at the solar corona. Deploying chromodynamic boost. No effect. It didn't work. Repeat. Well, it didn't work. That was our one shot. Thank you for trying to help. I'm not sure what to try next. Maybe we can evacuate a few people. I'm not going to give up. But the situation is grim. If your people can offer any other help, we would welcome it. But I just don't see a way to relocate 8 billion people in the next few hours.
Don't worry about it just yet. We'll keep working on a solution as well. As we continue our studies, we receive a reading from a small craft entering orbit 2. However, we cannot get a clear sensor signal through its hull. Its configuration, however, is somewhat familiar to us.
My name is Caldano. Looks like I've arrived at the perfect time. I'm here to help with the problem with this star. I'm a scientist, and I have some specialized knowledge that can help.
We've actually met Caldano before, however, we're unsure as to whether that's happened for him yet, so we have to play along.
With apologies for the interruption, this is my home star. My people are the ones at risk here. If you have some way to reverse this process, my people should be involved.
Agreed. Keep Kamarki in on this call too. However, if Dano has a solution, I suggest we hear him out.
Alright, I'm willing to do so, but it will take me a little while to get a shuttle out there. As you might imagine, things are a little hectic over here right now.
Oh, where you're going, you won't need shuttles.
You won't be able to get a lock on my ship interior due to the subspace manifolds. I'll go ahead and bring you aboard.
We assemble an away team to meet with Dano on his ship and beam up the Administrator. We're already aware of this technology Cal possesses. It's the Toxutat, and we've already had run-ins with it before, keeping it out of the hands of the Vorgons and the Envoy. But as I said, I'm not sure just when this part fits in, so we'll have to keep quiet for now.
Welcome aboard. I'm Caldano.
You moved me here without crossing the intervening space. You have quantum teleportation technology.
Yes. We call it a transporter. It has a limited range, but it's useful for going from surface to ship.
Impossible! This ship's interior is massive, even though it's no bigger than a shuttle.
My ship uses compactified subspace folds. It's bigger on the inside.
Yeah, I'd say it's smaller on the outside. Rest assured, though, I am equally shook, but right now we have a son to save.
This is all quite overwhelming. This Caldano person is another stranger from somewhere else? And you're here to help with our dying star?
Yeah, we came to investigate, and until today we had no idea this system was inhabited.
Oh. Yes, I suppose I can see how a star suddenly dying might attract someone's attention.
Oh, no, I didn't mean... Our founding principles are exploration. We'd normally open diplomatic relations with you and send first and second contact teams, if you want, to help you get in touch with the greater galactic community. It's just we don't have time for that right now.
It's an odd coincidence. We'd probably never have met if it weren't for the trouble with the star. My people have never really had any desire to go exploring out there. We've sent a few probes and met a couple of neighbors, but we're happy at home, and we have what we need, so why risk it? I guess this crisis answers that question. The galaxy is bigger than us, and to survive, we need to look past just our homeworld.
The United Federation of Planets was founded on mutual cooperation and the sharing of certain resources and aid, so we'd love to welcome you to the stage. And if we're like-minded, maybe we'll be seeing more of each other.
It sounds like you have a lot of experience in meeting other kinds of people. Maybe if we survive this, we can take the chance and learn more about each other, to talk about what we might have in common and what we have to offer.
Oh, I am completely certain that the UFP will want to open dialogue with the Lucari. And I imagine your experiences here will make you the first choice as ambassador?
What can I do to help? My home is at risk. I want to do something. To be involved in solving this problem.
We can tell her to stay put, not get in the way, which seems a little rude. We can have her tail us around and watch over our shoulder, or we can assign her to Dano as it is his ship and a little beyond our time. Now, originally I wanted to go back and film every outcome, but STO booted me when I was replaying this and I was running out of time. Plus, from what I can tell, nothing changes except who Kamaki follows around for 5 minutes, constantly asking questions about every piece of tech she sees. And in this instance, Dano would be better to explain them.
Welcome to my ship. Don't be alarmed. This vessel is from the 31st century, and it has some technology you may not recognize yet. I can assure you, though, that I'm here to help.
Oh my, it's a time ship? I am so shocked. But that does explain why we couldn't scan you, and why you have tech that can reignite a star.
Correct. I'm associated with the temporal division of... Well, let's just say that I'm an ally from the future, and I'm here to save the Lucari star.
Well, you almost slipped up, didn't you? But if this involves time travel, then we are changing the timeline again? I don't have much luck with that.
No, I'm trying to prevent changes. Someone's tampered with this star. It's not supposed to die out here. The Lucari don't disappear today, at least not if we have any say in it. I have some technology that can help, but we'll need to rework it in order to repair the star's fusion processes. What I need you to do is help me align this matrix to match the star's original spectrum.
Okay, how do we go about doing that?
This matrix can adjust quantum induction fields, but restarting stellar processes isn't its normal use. This task should be simple. Go to each console and adjust the intensity of each color spectrum in the mix. When you have the right mix, the matrix on the center console should match the original color of the star. I'll regulate the device's main power state from this console.
We move to the other two consoles at the peripheral of the room to input the parameters for the last known healthy state of the Lucari star. It's quite a simple task, and when done, the Toxutat glows in response to the data as it's uploaded to its lattice. But something's wrong. The ship shakes from an impact.
Sounds like whoever tried to destabilize the Lucari star has decided to come knocking. Let's see who... They're packing a real wallop! Shields just went down! We have incoming!
I'm sorry, isn't this a 31st century ship? What do you mean we've got incoming? Oh, Tholians.
What are those things?
Tholians. Silicon-based, crystalline, hate time travel, hate us.
Tholians! Keep them away! I need to finish these computations! I have the device shielded in a force field, but I can't deploy it until these Tholians are out of the way. Shields are back up! They shouldn't be able to get any more boarding parties over.
We put down the Tholians. This was only a temporary setback, but it was a hard and fast one, like the Tholians were expecting Dano's ship.
We've got a breather. Now I just have to charge the device and prepare it for use. In just a few minutes, it'll propagate a quantum wave shift that should correct the star's stalled fusion process. You should head back to your ship, and I'll send the administrator back home. The device is charging. We should be just a few minutes away from repairing the star now.
Give us the Toxutat.
We soon meet the source of the boarding party.
Now the Tholians want my quantum phase.
And back in the saddle we engage the Tholians.
You will surrender the Tox you have, or you will be destroyed.
Captain, a little more time. Rejuvenate the star.
You don't just simply overthrow a 31st century ship's defences without a lot of prep work. Clearly, the Tholians were expecting this temporal incursion to show up. With their obsession into alternate universes and timelines, I think we've found the cause of this whole situation.
Capacitors full. Firing in 3 seconds. Activating the rejuvenator.
working! Look at the star. Check the spectral readings. The fusion process is reigniting, and it's returning to normal.
So it is. There is a shockwave being generated too, but it won't be strong enough to threaten the planet. Good job, everyone.
Some of those ships have just arrived at our home system. They're attacking our homeworld. We don't have any way to repel starships like this. Please help us.
Responding to the distress call, we turn the Armiger away from Dano's vessel and move to protect the Lucari moon.
Please, you have to stop them. We don't have any warships or space weapons.
I can only imagine what sort of impression this is all leaving on the Lucari. They've gone from minimal contact to possibly their first interstellar incident, and time travel is involved to cap it all off. Although now I think about it, reading the first contact of humanity's records, maybe we have something in common there too.
Tholians have managed to get my ship in a web. I need your help.
Oh my god, Caldano, you're supposed to be from the future. What? We're on our way. It doesn't take long to clear up the rest of the Tholians and resume our mission, but there's been a development. One of the vessels managed to warp away.
Thanks for the save, but the Tholians managed to steal the Tox Utot while they had my ship webbed. That must have been their plan all along. My data suggests that the Tholians used a trilithium warhead to destabilize the star. But the amount of resources needed to build such a weapon makes it inefficient, to say the least. No, I suspect that somehow they knew that I'd come here to save this star, and that I would bring the Tox Utot. Fortunately, the Lucari star is safe. However, nobody else will be as long as the Tholians have that device. They could use it to snuff out or destabilize stars anywhere they want.
No, we will get it back from them somehow, I'm sure of it. Just we have to figure out how, and if they manage to use it before it passes into the hands of... You know what, never mind.
I have some thoughts on that, but I will need to do some calculations. These events, and the Tox Utot itself, are tied up in the temporal Cold War. The Tholians may not care, but by using the Tox Utot, they risk distorting the timeline, by wiping out civilizations that are supposed to survive into the future, such as the Lucari. I'll be in touch. At least now the Lucari will have a promising future.
Kumarki joins the call.
Caldano is correct. You have preserved our future. My people will be forever grateful, not to mention my personal gratitude, of course. I think we have a bright future ahead of us, if you'll forgive my play on words. I am eager to see where it leads. Thank you once again.
Indeed, once I contact the Federation diplomatic corps, they'll be in touch.
I wish I could ask you about your science, your trade, your society. But I suppose there will be time for all of that now that our crisis has been averted. Won't there?
I am at a loss for words. This has been a good day, but indeed, this sort of thing is pretty much the reason for the UFP's existence, so I will definitely stay in touch. We will definitely stay in touch. The Federation will stay in touch.
I think our friend the administrator here is going to need a ride home. Would you mind? If you'll pick her up and take her home, I'll start looking for more data about the Tholians' plans.
Caldano, intergalactic time-travelling scientist and wingman extraordinaire, apparently. We beam the administrator back aboard the Armiger and take a leisurely cruise back to the orbit of her homeworld.
I have collected an amazing amount of information about what happened to this star. Thank you for bringing me along. Once we're back in Allied space, I'll take a shuttle home.
It was a pleasure, Zaval, although a mite more action than planned. I wanted a nice, quiet, scientific run, but a first contact is something you can certainly put in your resume. Good luck for the future. One more addition to this tale. Caldano wasn't just saving this planet as part of his duty to the Temporal Agency, because while aboard his timeship, Temet took some surreptitious scans of him and determined that he was predominantly human, but with traces of Vulcan and Lucari DNA, among others. So it was a matter of self-preservation, too. Seems that the Lucari in the far future will definitely be open for diplomatic relations. Maybe even a Federation member world. That would be cool to see. But they've got a long way to go, and we can't just dump technology on them to get them to catch up. We stick around for a little while afterwards to make sure the Tholians don't return and to see what the next moves from the UFP will be, but undoubtedly they'll send diplomatic teams to do the formal stuff, followed by second contact crews. But who cares about the second contact crews? Naturally, Quinn is troubled by the Tox Utat being in play again, and I have to wonder how much the Federation knows about our temporal activities. All that sort of thing was being handled by Agent Daniels. I'm sure it'll make for quite a read when it all comes to light. Until then, however, we set a course for our next mission in this temporal chapter of Star Trek Online. So, thank you for watching this story series as we continue to wend our way through it, and we'll catch up with Kumarkia and the Lucari in a future episode. For now, though, thanks again for watching. I've been Rick, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.